Hi everyone, so today we are talking about Ernie Ortiz. Sadly, he was murdered and his death is still unsolved. All the links that I used for research will be down below, and let's go ahead and get into it. So, Ernie Ortiz's case is unsolved. It's an unsolved homicide, but thanks to a relatively new project called the Kansas Cold Case Playing Cards Deck, his case was included, and it has been circulating in jails and correctional facilities in Kansas. Um, and the point of these decks is to generate new tips and help out cases. Ernie was only one, he was only one. He was one of 14 children from a well-known Western Kansas family. He was a business owner, a son, a brother, a friend, and everyone's favorite uncle, according to his nephew, Alex Ramos. He was also known for his contribution and mentorship of local youth. A quote from his nephew, Alex Ramos, Alex actually says, "This loss has not only affected our family, but also the community of Garden City. It hurts. There are still a lot of open wounds and things we are trying to get answers from." End quote. Ernie also did singing. He played the organ, the trumpet, and danced as he played his music. From an early age, he was actually on stage performing at church. He actually started with his father, who had a band, and they would go on to join the musical voyage and continue to perform with his family until he passed. But when it wasn't music, he would be found at El Conquistador, which everybody said was like his second home. And this was the family restaurant that he ran. And this is another quote from Alex. "He was there every single day. Those that were regulars could always see him at the register at the front, greeting them by their first name." End quote. So he was just all about the restaurant. He seemed to genuinely loved what he did. He seemed to love the people that was in his city. He loved his people. And it's so sad that he was taken. Like, he just, when you see photos of him, I'm going to pop up on the screen, he just seemed like a genuine joy. He seemed like sunshine. But we're going to head and get into the actual crime itself. So it was late on September 12th, 2019, when Ernie would be fatally shot at the family restaurant. And this is also where he would be found. Garden City police said early on that it looked like a possible robbery. I also want to say really quick that there wasn't much on this case just because there's really nothing. There's no evidence of anything or who it could be, so I really don't have that much left. But then I'm gonna kind of talk about it, so this is gonna be a relatively short video. But soon after his death, there would be an arrest made, but the person charged would then have those charges dismissed in December of 2020, and when I saw that, I was like, what the hell? But the good thing is, so the man that was originally charged was 32-year-old Marcus Rohde, and the charges were dropped without prejudice, meaning that he could be charged in the future should new or additional evidence come to light. So if later on they find that he was in fact responsible for Ernie's death, he can still be tried, which is so good. Here in the US, I don't know about anywhere else, we have this thing called double jeopardy. So you can only be tried once for a crime, and in a lot of cases, there's not enough evidence, and so cases will fall through the cracks, or the person will be found not guilty. So the charges were dropped, which I'm not sure what evidence they even had against him. I could find nothing about that. I don't know why they were suspecting him in the first place. Or if there was any evidence, whether that be DNA or like CCTV footage. I'm not sure. But maybe they just haven't released it, but I couldn't find anything on there, so I'm going to say that that might have been for the best to have those charges dismissed and not take the chance of, not being able to get a conviction. So officers responded just before 11 p.m. that fateful night to the report of a person down. Ernie was lying on the east parking lot entrance. He had suffered multiple gunshot wounds, and at the time he was only 69. So this is a quote from Alex Ramos, and this is what I'm going to end on. I know this is incredibly short. If we were to get justice, I know that he would be proud for us for not forgetting, all the lessons that he taught us and honoring his legacy, end quote. And that's literally all I have. That's it. I went through so many articles, and a lot of it was just regurgitating the same information over and over. I really couldn't find anything else. I did know that the family has a Facebook page, which will be linked down below, and with that, there's also a GoFundMe, which is just a way for them to help, find more leads, do more investigating. There's also a reward. I believe it's 21,000. I believe that it was originally 11,000, which is what the family had been able to get together, and then there was like an anonymous donation of another 10,000, which brought it up to 21,000, which is absolutely amazing. So I believe that it is currently sitting at 21,000 for anybody that has a tip that leads to the arrest and conviction of whoever committed this crime. But they do have a GoFundMe, they do have a Facebook page, all that will be linked down below. I just because we don't know any details, I would probably agree that this would be a robbery, because the way he was just described, he just seemed to care about everybody. He just seemed like sunshine in this community, and I don't know who would have personal beef with him. And so I guess a robbery would make sense, especially if you run your own restaurant. Somebody might assume that you have money. And when he wouldn't give them the money, maybe they just shot him. And it's absolutely sad that that happened. I actually saw a quote from Alex that said, I think said something along the lines of, it's sad that he was there every single day of his life, or almost every single day of his life. He left one night and would never step back in that restaurant again. And that's just so sad to think about, because that is a restaurant he loved, and he ended up being killed outside of it. But yeah, I wish we had more details. I don't know if the police really just don't have anything, or maybe they have a little bit more and they're not releasing it. I'd be really interested in knowing why Marcus Rohde was arrested the first time. And maybe we'll find that out one day. This happened a few years ago, so it's not super old. So hopefully this will be solved soon. Hopefully there will be a breakthrough. If you have any tips, though, you can contact the Garden City Police Department at 620-276-1300. That number will be on the screen. And that's all I have for you today, guys. I'm so sorry about the short video, but Ernie's story was still very important to tell, and I wanted to tell it. So thank you guys for listening, and I will see you guys in the next video.